It's done now, so now I'm gonna take it out.
All right, just got the second hayfield cut. Everything seemed to run pretty good. Now the only other thing we can try to do is we may go up to the front pasture and cut some pasture hay. So we'll have to go over there and check it out, but I still got plenty of time left in the day. See if I get through here before Maya comes back. So over there where Maya is, and we got an electric fence going across, I want to try to cut hay from here all the way down to the far end on this north side. We just planted all this last fall, and this first year you can see it's just a lot of red clover. You can see some like annual or perennial ryegrass starting to go to seed. There's some grass under this, but I mean, it looks like 95% red clover. And that's kind of how it is at the very beginning. That clover out competes the grass, and it's just super thick, and that's one reason we need to cut it, so that the grass doesn't die underneath it, and the grass has a chance to like start getting some good growth where it can compete a little bit better. And then by next year, by the time we mow this and graze this, next year it'll be more even. It'll probably be like 50-50 clover and grass. And then the clover will probably slowly, as you know, over the next few years, it'll be 75% grass and 25% clover. It just takes the grass a few years to kind of get caught up. And this is way denser than the other two hay fields that we cut, so we'll probably get way more bales out of this. I think it's, I don't know if I said, but it's probably 4 or 5 acres right in here that we're gonna try to cut today. So let's go ahead and get it done. All right, I've got this whole area of the pasture all cut. That's gonna make a lot of hay. This was super thick. When I first started mowing this, I didn't even think I was cutting it. I just thought I was pushing it over. It was almost still standing when I would mow it. But so I had to come out and just like pick it up just to see, and it's nice and cut, but it's just so thick. It still kind of stands tall after you cut it, and it gave the illusion that it didn't get cut at all, but it's nice and cut. So I think I cut about 11 acres of hay today. I think the disc mower worked pretty good after I worked out the little kinks, except for that hydraulic cylinder I need to rebuild. Now a couple downsides, going to a disc mower over the hay conditioner. The hay conditioner would crimp the hay like every 5 inches. It would like crush it. And everywhere it was crushed, that was a place that moisture could escape the grass quicker. It would dry quicker. And then it also had those windrow deflectors where you could create a windrow and you could adjust the size of the windrow. That way you could make a nice, perfect size of windrow for the baler, and then you could come through and you could bale it up wet and make like haylage out of it. I won't be able to do that with this because it just kind of spreads it out straight on the ground. There's no way to really make a windrow at all. But overall, I'm glad I got the disc mower now. It's gonna make cutting hay go a lot quicker. It's about 55 years newer than my last mower, so hopefully I'll have less breakdowns. It'll be more reliable than what I was dealing with.
So I have a lot of chicken frozen in our freezer that I need to use up. And I also need some chicken broth for some recipes that I have planned. So I decided that I was gonna do spatchcock chicken, where you cut out the backbone, lay it flat, and then I'm gonna save the backbone parts for making chicken broth. So right now, for this recipe, I'm going to dry brine it. So I'm just gonna coat it with salt, and then I'm gonna let it sit in the fridge until tomorrow. And then I'm gonna put some of my hand just to try to shove under the skin. Okay, I'll have to show you a close-up of this. Look at those chunky thighs. It's gonna be a good chicken.
So we've been trying to dry up Ellie here. We weaned her calf. It's been like 7 or 8 weeks now. And after 3 weeks, we tried putting her in back with the herd, and she started letting her calf drink from her again. So we pulled her back out, and she let Maya's calf, Oscar, she let him drink from her. So we had to put her over there, you know, with the sheep. So a couple days ago, we decided we'd try again, and we put Ellie back in here with Maya and Oscar. And then yesterday we seen Oscar drinking from her again, trying to drink from her, which could basically halt the drying up process and make her go back into milk. So we had to take her back out, and we put her back in with the sheep again. So we're not 100% sure if the calf trying to nurse on her is actually affecting the drying up process. We're just afraid that it'll start her back into milk. So just out of abundance of caution, we're just gonna keep her with the sheep for now and make sure she's not with any calves. There goes the piggies. They're still a little bit cautious of us. They're getting close enough that I can almost pet them. Yeah. So in the morning, we've been putting a couple gallons of Maya's milk in there, and then like 10 pounds of feed. And then they'll have this emptied by tomorrow morning. It takes them about 24 hours to eat it. They do have access to dry feed in this trough, but they haven't touched it. They prefer that. In fact, I think they prefer the milk because they drink all the milk first and they leave some of that feed behind.
All right, I'm back from the store, and I'm ready to start putting my broth together. So this is the backbone I just cut out of the chicken. And then I have a bunch of frozen necks from when we processed chickens. They're still frozen. And then I picked up celery at the store, and we have carrots I chopped. I don't really measure. I just put a bunch in there. I have 1 onion with the skin on. I'm just gonna quarter it. And I'll put the skin and all in there. And then I went out to the garden. I was able to get the seasoning, spices that I needed. So I have some thyme. And I'm just gonna scoop that up and put in this little ball here. I think this is the first time I'm using this, but I feel like it's gonna make this go much easier. And then I have oregano. Okay, and then I have parsley. And then bay leaves. And then peppercorns. There's our spices. And now I'm going to put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in there just to help break down the meat. And this is just coarse kosher salt. And then I'm gonna cover it all with a lot of water. Okay, so I've got it filled with water. All the goodies are in there. And I have it turned on pretty low, just about 200 degrees. And I'm gonna cover it, and then we're gonna let this sit for a couple days.
Well, now that I got hay cut, I'm gonna have to start digging out the rest of the hay equipment, and it's behind all this stuff. Of course, the baler's like got a ton of stuff in front of it. And then back here I got the hay rake, and then behind it is the hay tedder, which is what I need next. So I wanna get the old case tractor out and see if I can use it during this hay season. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna be full of wasps. The wasps, they end up building nests like right under the dash. Well, here we go. Oh, started right up. Well, I was surprised that thing started like right up. It didn't even like sputter. It just fired right up. And I had not started this. I had not started it at all beforehand. It hadn't been started in probably over a year. All I did was put the maintainer on the battery, make sure the battery is fully charged. So the problem I've had with this tractor in the past is the power steering, which you have to like remove the whole hood and take off. To do that, you have to take off like the exhaust. It's a real pain. But the belt on the power steering squeals. So typically you can only run it at about half the RPMs, which is perfectly fine if I'm gonna run a tedder on this, because I like to run the tedder slower so that I don't tear the grass up too much or knock off all the leaves off the clover, so that I'm a lot more gentle with it as I stir it up. And that's what I'm planning on using this with, is the tedder. And we're gonna probably do that tomorrow after all the dew is gone. So I just did a quick walk around. Looks like I need to put some air in the tires. They're a little low. And I probably just need to check the fluids. I don't see anything else that looks like anything major that I need to fix on it. And it drove up here just fine, so I think we're pretty much good to go for tomorrow. So this is my 1961 JI Case tractor. It's a diesel tractor, about 55 horsepower. It did come with the property when we bought it, and I used it quite a bit when we first bought the property, but now it hardly gets used. Probably haven't been used in a couple years. But when I checked the oil looked like brand new. So it's probably only had a couple hours on it since I changed it last. But it's all greased up, it's ready to go. And just need to go out and get the hay tedder. We'll get it all prepped and ready to go, and then we'll head out to the field. So on this tractor, it doesn't stop the engine with the key. It actually has like a lever down here that you use to set the compression on the cylinder. And when you throw that lever, that's what kills the tractor. So it's a little different. There goes another tractor by. It's definitely tractor season around here. We get more tractors that go by our place than we do cars. There she goes. Yeah, this cover's stuck on here. I can't get it to spin to get grease in it. Should go in. That cover's broken. Let's go ahead and take this off. We'll add that to the list of repairs. So to look at the sky, you wouldn't probably believe it, but first thing this morning, it was really dark, it was cloudy, it looked like it was gonna rain any minute. And then we pulled up the radar, there's a really big storm to the west. And luckily it ended up going southeast, completely missed us. But man, I was a little bit worried first thing this morning. And then about noon, the clouds went away, and now it's like perfectly clear skies. The sun's out, it's warmed up. So the hay I cut yesterday, it's probably only dried like a couple hours, so it's probably not very dry yet. I do want to tet it while it's still just a little bit green. That way I don't break any of the leaves or shatter anything. I don't want to tear up the hay. I just want to fluff it up, basically turn it over and help the rest of it dry. All right, I just finished up the back two hay fields. You can see the tedder had spread all the grass out. It's all evenly across the field. You don't see those stripes no more from where they cut the hay. And this is definitely got everything kind of turned over and fluffed up. It's gonna dry out a lot quicker. And a lot of time the color doesn't show up on camera that good, but man, the hay, you can see we still got the leaves intact. We didn't break the leaves off of the clover. But the color of this hay is really nice looking so far. I mean, it could still bleach out in the sun, but right now it's looking like it's gonna make some pretty nice hay. So far, the Case tractor's been running perfectly fine, no problems. In fact, previously the power steering belt would just squeal all the time and you couldn't rev it up very far, and it hasn't even done that. It's actually running better than it did a couple years ago. I'm really kind of surprised at how well this tractor's running. The only negative thing I have to say is that the tractor steering wheel turns your hands black. I guess I should have had my gloves on.
So my chicken has been in the refrigerator overnight with that dry brine on, and now I'm going to cook it for dinner tonight. So first I'm gonna make some compound butter, and this is our unsalted butter that I made. I took it out of the freezer yesterday because we've already gone through some. I'm gonna add some roasted garlic, and I really like garlic, so I'm gonna add a lot. Some smoked paprika, and then the herbs I got from the garden. I have everything mixed in here: butter, roasted garlic, olive oil, rosemary, thyme, and parsley. I have these Honey Gold bite-sized potatoes. I'm gonna put those in the bottom of the cast iron skillet. I'm gonna coat them with some olive oil. And then I am going to salt and pepper the potatoes. I'm gonna lay that on top. Now I'm gonna take the butter I made, and I'm just gonna rub it all over the chicken. And I'm gonna shove some under the skin. So this is what it looks like. It's getting ready to go in the oven. I'm gonna cover it with foil. I'm gonna cook it for an hour at 375, and then I'm gonna take the foil off and just let the skin get roasted and crispy. That is one heavy pan.
So this is the thick clover that we ended up cutting the other day, and feels a little bit crunchy on top, but man, you just look underneath this, it is very wet. That is very wet. It is so thick. Yeah, this definitely needs rolled over to try help dry it out. I don't think this is going to dry as quick as the other two fields. Those will probably end up, they'll probably be ready to rake up and bale tomorrow. They'll be 2-day hay. This is probably gonna probably take at least 3 days before I can bale this. It is really thick stuff. So as we look across this field, you can just look at it and you can tell that where we cut it is so much thicker. The other fields had dried out and they were like laying flat on the ground. These, where we cut it, these are still 12 inches tall. They're very thick rows where we cut this. So that means we're gonna have a lot more yield off of this pasture. I mean, we'll get more bales per acre. It's just, you know, it's just gonna take a while for this to dry down. And some varieties don't like to dry down. That's why you typically don't like to bale white clover. White clover likes to hold a lot of moisture. This red clover is supposed to dry down better for hay, but we'll just have to wait and see how long it takes. All right, I just finished up. Got this pasture hay all tedded, and boy, it looks way better having it all spread out. That's gonna help this out a ton. This is gonna help this out way more than those other 2 fields, just because this one is so heavy. So I think that's probably it for hay today. Tomorrow I can probably rake the fields in the back, but I think it'll be a couple of days before I get back to this one. But let's go ahead, we'll take the tractor back up front and we'll go check on Rebecca. Well, I just got out of the shower and it's raining. I don't know if you can tell. So we've had some scattered thunder showers pop up. Before I got in the shower, one just went north of us, and then here we go. There's another one right there. So hopefully the rain only lasts for a few minutes and it won't be that big of a deal, but we'll wait and see.
Okay, so that took longer than I expected. So it took 2 hours, and I'm not sure if that's just because our chickens are so large, or if I just really underestimated the time, but it's done now, so now I'm gonna take it out. So we're gonna let it rest for a few minutes so we don't burn our mouths off, and then we'll eat.
So am I like the official taste tester or what?
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's tender. That is cut like a fork. That's with a fork. Oh, that's really good. This chicken is really good. It was probably good that you did that dry brine for a day.
I didn't add any additional salt.
Yeah,
Just
the
what was in
potatoes
brine.
probably need a little bit of salt, but man, the chicken is really good. Yeah. Very tender. That's very good. I think what I would do is I would probably smash these, because you talked about making a
Yeah, that's
smashed
what I
potato,
thought about doing.
and then put a little bit of salt on there and eat them up.
Well, I thought a little olive oil and Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, well, that would be good too.
Yeah.
Well, Rebecca was watering the garden because there's not supposed to be any rain. Luckily the rain didn't last, but I don't know, probably only lasted like 10 minutes. But it's still pretty cloudy out, so we'll just have to wait and see.
These are our zucchini plants. I've already got 2 zucchinis inside to eat, and there's some more on there.
Yeah, they are already, I told you they're gonna take up half of that garden bed.
Yeah,
and
before
they're pretty
long,
close.
we won't be able to keep up with them. We'll have so many, because we have 2 zucchini plants. Here's the other one. It's really big too. Look at that. So you got 1 little eggplant starting here.
It's a little bitty thing. Can't
Yes.
see it on the camera, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having some eggplant. But the garden looks really nice. And it has made weeding much easier.
Yeah, look at all the onions. They are really starting to get big too. We're waiting for peppers. We're wanting some jalapeno peppers.
There's one right there.
Yeah, there is. It's a little one. It's only about 2 inches long right now. Maybe not even that long.
Yeah.
What is that?
The celery from the other night.
What? You planted what was left of the celery?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully that takes root. That's a good idea. We never tried that.
It's supposed to work.
Yeah, hopefully it does. It'd be a lot easier than starting it from seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already started harvesting the lettuce. You can't really tell, but we've already taken out like a couple heads of lettuce. We've been eating on that. And we're actually almost out on the inside, so we're gonna harvest some more here pretty soon. Well, you guys can probably tell it's getting fairly late. What time is it?
I think it's about 7:30.
Yeah, so it's time for us to
Relax.
relax and call it a night. So we hope you guys have a wonderful day.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.